I don't fucking want to date a chat. Looks are not, like, that's not the only factor.
Any man that you would think about talking to has to be above a certain attractiveness threshold to even be able to qualify for all of these things that you're listing. When people say stuff like this, we have to recognize that it's basically pure cope. So women are not going to be 100% happy with the man that they end up with. And they will hop the branch as soon as the opportunity arises. Luckily, there is something called love, and I do think people can fall in love and kind of mildly transcend these things. Might be correlated with IQ, is my theory. Lower IQ women are going to be inherently more overtly hypergamous without any exceptions. Women are hypergamous because we used to be polygamous. A large portion of men were always left out of the gene pool. Women contribute to the gene pool twice as much as men do, historically. This is just how it is, guys.
All right, so Jordan Peterson has some gems, and I just want to watch them and analyze them, think about them. So let's start. Let's watch some of his gems and go through it.
There's hardly anything more perfect than the ability to climb to the top of whatever dominance hierarchy you happen to be put in. Now, one of the things I would say is that women exerted tremendous selection pressure on men to be exactly that sort of creature. But what the hell else would women select men for? If they had any sense. You know, you want to select a partner, because, you know, you've heard the idea of hypergamy, right? Women mate across or up dominance hierarchies. I think that women pick men for their ability to climb the status hierarchy, because we forced women in an experiment that we never published to choose between those two things, wealth versus ability. The women overwhelmingly chose ability. They just use wealth as a marker of ability.
There seems to be an employment issue too, and I mean that's a complicated problem because you know, the employment market for people who are less skilled has been, I would say, in decline, especially on the male end of the distribution. And one of the stats that Farrell cites is that 3/4 of women will not consider seriously dating an unemployed man, whereas 1/3 of men would have a problem dating an unemployed woman. So there's obviously a gender bias there, and I think there's a reason for that. I think that it's grounded in both rationality and evolutionary biology. The evolutionary biology element is that women across cultures tend to mate across and up hierarchies, let's say. And the reason for that, I think, is that they're logically, and this is where the logic comes in as well as the biology, they're looking for a partner that can be of substantial economic utility, practical utility, when they put themselves in the vulnerable position of having a child. Mm-hmm. So then you also have this additional problem is if the employment situation tanks in any serious way, then men become less desirable as partners. And your claim, I guess, in part is that by filling that void, the government actually contributes to the problem rather than addressing it.
I think this is such an interesting conversation and interesting thing because when you watch a lot of red pill channels, they have this sort of like hatred towards women for being hypergamous. But before I get into that, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all the above. It really pushes this video out in the algorithm and encourages me to make more videos. This video is brought to you by Brand Video Pro. We help brands and influencers scale their influence and sales. So if that is of interest to you, head on over to our website, click the link down below, and find out how we can help you. When you watch a lot of red pill channels, they have this sort of like hatred towards women for being hypergamous. And based on just like information and education. Yeah, so he's a clinical psychologist, very researched.
Quick break, fellas. Before we continue, my name is Freud. I own this channel and I run 5 other Faceless YouTube channels behind the scenes. And if you're watching this, I already know something about you. Working hard, you're putting in the hours, and the math still isn't working in your favor. Rent goes up, bills go up, the money you send home goes up, and the paychecks stay the same. Here's what nobody told you. The men who actually escape don't escape by working harder. They escape by building something that pay them while they sleep. And the single best version of that right now is Faceless YouTube channel, running on AI. Similar to this one that you are actually watching right now, believe it or not. No camera, no face, no quitting your job, just a quick asset that earn money in the background. And I'm not talking about theory, I'm talking about what I'm actually working on. Man Guide, which I personally own, has done over 300,000 and bring over $60,000 a year on autopilot. Another channel of mine posts 600,000 just uploading celebrity gossip. And now that we've automated the whole thing with AI, this one video right here actually made over $10,000, and it took less than a day to actually produce that one single video. A third channel, Sigma Trade, did $90,000 in less than 12 months. All of those channels are faceless. You guys subscribe and watch this video, which I appreciate you guys because you guys contribute to me making that money. And YouTube just paying for getting the views in those channels in general. And this is all while I sleep. This is the model. I'm running a 5-day challenge to walk you through the entire build, exactly the way I do it. By the 5th day, you have a live Faceless YouTube channel, your first AI generated video published, and a real plan to scale and have a second income. But here's the thing, I'm only running this once this week, and I don't open it to tire kicker or time waster. Before you join, you lock in your seat, it's only $39 just to make sure you're actually gonna show up to the call, you have some commitment. And it's gonna be over 5 day, 5 evening, one real asset, one serious step. Link is gonna be in the description. Lock your seat before they're gone. I'm capping this cohort because every man who joined get time on the phone with me, and there's only so much time that I can actually give to go around. Now back to the video.
Why on earth do these modern women think that men care about their success? A man doesn't look for a provider, but rather a supportive, faithful partner. However, these days it's hard to find a girl like that. Women are so busy chasing degrees, careers, and unicorns that most men are not even eligible. As much as this looks like bad news for men, the reality is quite the opposite, and in fact, women are having lots of trouble finding the man they want. Her money is just her money, but your money is hers too. Plus, since women are making more money than ever before, they don't want to marry some dude making less money than her. Hypergamy always operates, and women always marry or date up. But this goes beyond an economic question.
So the idea is that when women date, we want to date up in some way, whether it's they make more money than us, they're more educated than us, or they're better looking than us. And this is just when you survey women on what they want in a man. And what researchers have come to find out is that 100% of women want 20% of men.
And guess what? Education and looks are not the only things either. In today's video, you'll know precisely why women are increasingly single, what they look for and don't find anywhere, and what most men think about this wicked dating scene. Stick around because I'm sure you're going to love this one. But before we go any further, let me share the comment of the day. Shout out to American Bloodhound. He said, "The consequences of modern dating are jaded men and lonely women. Until dating apps can overcome a woman's hypergamous nature, this disease will fester." You're absolutely right. Dating apps are a disaster for our society as a whole. Please don't forget to reach out to us by email to claim your $5 for that comment of the day. As usual, guys, I'll pick one from each video. It may be the funniest, the most liked, or one that touched me, so don't forget to leave a comment and you may be our next winner. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons too, as it helps a lot. And now, as always, back to the video.
Embrace your masculinity.
Men have been taught to be nice and respectful, give flowers and all that jazz. However, it looks like modern women don't care about that at all, and in fact, consider that giving flowers, opening doors, and pulling out their chairs is quote-unquote too much. The incentives for being a gentleman are nowhere to be found, and being honest is not something beneficial either.
No, why not?
I'm not gonna let a girl look at my phone.
Why?
Because I'm gonna have other girls in there, 100%. The thing is that most women can't handle the truth. So I'm very big on like being upfront and letting her know, listen, I'm gonna have other girls, whatever it may be, but you're the main one, and she's got to accept that. But her looking at my phone is just gonna hurt her feelings.
So you want an open relationship?
Yeah, open on mine, close on her end.
That's not fair though.
Life isn't fair.
As much as women want honesty, along with emotional awareness, the reality is that they can't handle honesty when it goes against their belief system. If you tell a modern woman she's single because she's hyper-combative and does everything under the sun to argue with men, you're automatically a bad person. Well, She can think so if she wants, but her singlehood is undeniable, and her stinky attitude won't be helping her land a Prince Charming anytime soon. So far, I'm sure you guys agree with me, it's common sense, right? If a woman just prefers being right over solving problems and being happy, she's unlikely to get and retain a guy long term. Men are done with argumentative women, and when men go abroad to find partners or just choose other types of women, it's not because they can't handle boss ladies or women with high body counts. Men are aware that women with a certain past and mentality are not good dating prospects. When a woman voices out her long-ass list of requirements, she's praised for having standards. By standards, I don't only mean income, height, or physique, but also political views, religion, whether the guy lives with his mom, etc. In contrast, the average man is way more simple and even prefers a woman making minimum wage over a boss lady who brags about having her own money, apartment, and car.
No, actually, she has less options. She has less options than a woman that don't have that much money.
Let's use common sense here, ladies. When a woman makes money, right, she typically wants to date her equal. Would that be fair to say? If not, or above, right? Yeah. So if you make $100,000 a year, what have you basically done to yourself? You only are going to find, 50% of the U.S. population is attractive? Cut that in half, because that's also women. So now 7% of the U.S. population is attractive to you, versus that man that makes $100,000. He don't care about money. So who actually has more options? Women make money, doors close. Men make money, doors open. That's the difference. Women become prisoners of their success. Men get freed from their success.
So just be poor and pretty, and then a man with money.
That's not what I'm saying. You don't have to take it to the extreme. But what I'm saying, your socioeconomic status doesn't mean anything. A king can marry a peasant, turn her into a queen. A queen will never look a peasant's way. We're not the same.
When you say or think these simple truths, many women will try to call you out, call you names and whatnot. That's their problem. Now that they've gone through college, careers, and the corporate world, they want to stick to a belief system because changing their mind is not something they will ever accept. Unless their body counts are through the roof, the wall comes through and suddenly they do want nice guys. Anyway, I come across an article that lays out the reasons why men are doomed to singlehood. Well, the article is titled, "Why Women Are Choosing to Be Single." But let's be honest, just like these women wanted. Jokes aside, let's take a look at the reasons these women have. The article is in the description, so feel free to check it out after the video. The first reason reads, they don't need a man to define them. This point is kind of interesting because it showcases the results of the strong and independent woman narrative. Look, everyone shouldn't live their existence attached to someone else's opinions. That's what yes people do all the time, including Simpson, of course, women who allow Chad and Tyrone to play with them. Having standards is something I encourage all the time for both men and women. However, the article shares a slightly different perspective. In the past, a woman's worth was largely based on her relationship status. If she was married, she was considered a success. If she was single, she was considered a failure. This way of thinking is antiquated, and women today know that their worth comes from within themselves, not from their relationship status. Look, this proves my point that nobody should depend on someone else's approval. But when the wall comes through and a woman sees other fellow women with beautiful families and marriages, she starts listening to her biological imperative, aka having kids or even getting married. Well, marriage is not biological, but rather the most deadly contract you can sign as a man. Still, you get the idea, right? The second reason is quite telling, and it is the lack of healthy relationship role models. The phrase, "do as I say, not as I do," is one you probably have heard a lot throughout your life. However, you end up imitating your parents. Now that single mother households are all over the place and even accepted, women don't have any good examples of what a good relationship is. And to make matters worse, instead of acknowledging that they don't know what a good relationship is, they prefer to put the blame on someone else. The reasons number 3 and 4 are closely related, and they are focus on career and financial independence, and they want to focus on themselves. The funny thing is that a man often makes money to become successful, increase the odds of succeeding in the dating marketplace, and even provide for his family. Men are not concerned about a woman's financial future unless she's got lots of student loan debt or she's his mother. In fact, note how selfless men tend to be. When they hustle, they often want to provide for their parents and even retire them. That's a very noble gesture, but these women just think of themselves, their long list of requirements, and being independent of men. Sadly, this focus on a career and living the boss lady lifestyle backfires on them down the road.
A man that's 35 is not the same as a woman that's 35 at all. Men age like wine, women typically age like milk. Now, can you push the clock back a little bit as a woman? You go to the gym, you take care of yourself, do some Kegels, whatever? Yeah, for sure. But you're never going to be able to compete with your 21-year-old self when you're 31, bro. Period. And the other thing, too, from a biological perspective, most of your eggs are gone by the time you're 35. It's considered a high-risk pregnancy. And by the time you're 30, like 80% of your eggs plus are gone. So if a man wants to have a family, you can't even give him children.
They could take them.
You're virtually useless from a biological standpoint.
The last reason I want to share with you is they don't want to compromise. This one is quite funny because it can mean multiple things. Who knows? Maybe they just don't feel ready for a relationship and don't want to hurt or consider other people's feelings. However, this could also mean that she wants to sleep around, or she's quote-unquote getting to know herself more. All in all, women are victims of their success, but most importantly, of their high expectations. Women want the top 20, 10, or even 5% of the male population. Men are not willing to give their all to combative women or just compete against each other for some asses and titties. The rise of MGTOW is the only natural consequence of this wicked dating scene. Stay strong, guys. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? What requirements do women have that you consider absurd or stupid? Will they ever realize that being strong and independent is not a good long-term plan for them? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you will get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video, guys. Till next time.